they are which is in the nature of marriage only, though they are not married, but that relationship that they have, it is in the nature of marriage. So there is a difference between being married and being in a relationship which is in the nature of marriage. uh, Essentially, in a live-in relationship, these two people should be, rather I should be saying must be, they must be major. So every country has, for instance, a legal age for marriage. In India, we have two different ages for male and females. For males, we have 21 years, and for females, we have 18 years. And also, I would like this webinar to be interactive. So I would request all of you to please switch on your videos, so that I can also see you all, and I can interact, and if I feel like having a discussion in between, so I can ask you. So, what's the legal age for marriage in your country? Anyone? Please feel free to discuss. We are only here to discuss and share ideas and discuss about the legal systems that we have.
Yeah, so advocates, please can you ask the question? Can you ask the question again?
Yeah.
What is the legal?
Yeah. So what is the legal age of marriage? What is the legal age for marriage?
Oh, okay.
After which after which a male or a female can enter into a marriage legally.
Okay, that's good.
Anyone? I think someone has raised hand. Could you please, Mr. Co-host, could you please admit this person and allow him or her to speak?
Okay. Please go ahead, Rayan from Uganda. Please go ahead.
Sorry, are you asking something?
Rayan, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say, what I'm saying is, according to the Ugandan Constitution, for the stipulates that
I think there is some network glitch from your end. I am not able to hear you properly.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's same over here. But
you say,
no, I can't. Can you repeat yourself?
Mr. Vice President, why don't Mr. Vice President, why don't you answer?
All right. If I heard him correctly, he's saying that in the Ugandan laws, the maturity age for marriage is 18. And I think it's similar to that
18.
It's similar to that of my home country. I come from Ghana, and with the maturity age, it is deemed that once you attain 18 years, you have that you have the consenting knowledge to consent to you being married to a different person, or a man or a woman. So that is it. 18 years of age, you are deemed to be at maturity.
Okay, all right. So this is something interesting, because even we in India, we have 18 years as legal marriage for females, for girls. And for males, we have the legal age as 21 years. So this brings me to the very first important essential of a live-in relationship, that for a live-in relationship to, if the live-in partners want that they should be having rights to each other's property, or they want to have the right to alimony, right to maintenance, and other rights, those would only flow if you both are in a legal age of marriage. Though you are not married, but your age should be, you both should be major as per the law of your own country. Then the other important essential is that none of the partners should have a spouse living at the time of this relationship. For instance, if there is I'll just give you an example. For example, now there is a man X who has a wife living, and he enters into relationship with a woman Y. So this relationship, it's not just morally wrong, but in India, this is also punishable. So if you have a wife living during the lifetime of that marriage or during the lifetime of that of your wife, so until unless she's not dead, you have not divorced her legally. If you have got if you're not legally separated, you cannot marry someone else, and also you cannot have any others company, because in that case the status of that female living partner, it would be of that of a mistress as per the Indian judgments. So that would she would be accorded the status of a mistress. I will just discuss in detail these things. So I will just skim through the essentials once again. So what is live-in relationship? Simply put, it's an arrangement whereby two unmarried people of legal age, they are living together, and they are living together in a shared household, and they are living together as husband and wife, but they are not exactly husband and wives.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right. So Adis, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
All right. So how do you draw the distinction from the definition I've just given in your previous slides? What is then the distinction between that and cohabitation?
Yeah. So you want to know what is the meaning of cohabitation?
Yeah. What is there any difference between the life in relationship, you'll be people living together,
Yes.
as well?
Yes.
Is there any difference between that and cohabitating?
Yes. I'll just tell you that. So in India, whether you are married or not, all I'll just give you a background. Okay, I'll just take you to the background of how personal laws in India work. So in India, which set of laws are applicable to you? This is determined, this is ascertained by which religion you belong to. For instance, in India, we are a home to so many religions. This is the beauty of India, unity in diversity, that we are a home to so many religions: Hindu, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jews, and so on, right? So whenever, for instance, I am a Hindu by birth, both of my parents are Hindus, so I am governed by Hindu Marriage Act. If in case I want to marry, in case I want to divorce, so Hindu Marriage Act would be applicable on me. Now, when I'll bear my offsprings, when I'll give birth to children, so they will also be governed by the same laws. And in case I want to adopt anyone, I want to be the guardian of any children. So in that case, Hindu laws again, in the form of guardianship or maintenance, they would be applicable to me. So likewise, we have separate sets of religions. We have separate sets of laws for every religion. Then we also have secular laws. For instance, if religion of any person is not known, suppose if he's an orphan, we don't know from which religion he belongs. Or for instance, if any person doesn't want to be governed by his personal laws, personal set of laws. Now, if I say that I don't want to be governed by the Hindu law, then our legislature has also enacted special and secular laws for us. For instance, we have for marriage, Special Marriage Act. We have Indian Divorce Act. So these acts, these laws are applicable to all. If you voluntarily consent that yes, I want to be governed by this law, and you are a citizen of India, yes, you can be governed by this. So this is how personal laws work in India. All right. Now, when do you say that that any two people are married? So we have our Hindu Marriage Act, the Section 5 and Section 7 of it. It clearly lays down the essentials for a marriage. Firstly, we have some legal formalities. Again, the legal formalities are same. The parties should be major. Then none of the party should have a spouse living, and then they should not be in consanguinity, or they should not be in any kind of close relations with each other. So, and also none of the parties should be mentally unstable at that time. So we have certain legal formalities, and then we have the religious formalities. So, for instance, I being a Hindu, in Hindus, how the marriage take place. So we take 7 rounds across the holy fire, and we read out a lot of there are a lot of customs and all. So if I am performing that marriage according to the custom, only then I will be accorded the status of of being a married couple.
Okay.
For example, if you are Christian, so you might be having a church wedding, right? So once you follow that customary process which is prescribed by your religion, and also your that customary marriage is also conforming to the legal formalities, only then you say that you are a married couple. All right, so this is what being a married couple means. And what is a live-in relationship? Live-in relationship is nothing but when you are in the nature of marriage. I'll just list down some parameters, and then this will be more clear to you that whether two people are in a live-in relationship, or if they have a casual relationship, or if they have a marital relationship. So you will be able to strike good differences in that. I'll just bring you to that aspect also.
Yes, thank you so much.
So, also, when we talk about the legal status to these, anything for that matter, these legal statuses and these things, these flow from the parliament. So, to if there is any act, or if there is any activity, for it to be a legal activity, this thing should flow from parliament, right? So some countries, for instance, United States, Canada, and only some states of United States, not whole of it, United Kingdom, there they have specific laws which govern the rights and the liabilities of the live-in partners. Whereas in countries like West Africa, to which Nigeria is also a part, then India, where I belong. So these countries do not have full-fledged laws on this. They do not have full-fledged, statutes or acts related to this. But what progressive thing the organ of government has done is that we have come up with judge-made laws. What are judge-made laws? Suppose if any live-in couple has knocked the doors of the court, so there the courts have provided them with good remedies, though there are no laws which are existing at that time, but the court is trying to fill those legislative gaps. So this is how legal status is accorded. Now coming on to the parameters. Now this will help you in understanding what are exactly the essentials of a live-in relationship. So firstly, there is a domestic arrangement. By domestic arrangement, what do I mean? By domestic arrangement, I mean that the girl and the boy who are alleged to be in a live-in relationship, they are living in the same house. They have a domestic arrangement, similar to that of a husband and a wife. All right. And for instance, now if one can say, if any casual relationship, if any if you're spending the weekends with any particular